Hey, welcome to your Taurus horoscopes for the week of November 26th through December 2nd. So we are officially going into the very last month of the year, which I'm kind of excited about because 2023 has just been really, really challenging for a lot of people. And while moving into 2024 is not going to mean it's not challenging, I have hope for 2024 that maybe some of the problems will get resolved that we have here. And this is not a political opinion in any way, shape, or form. But it does feel like there's a lot of things that are broken and nobody is fixing it. So I am hoping that the energy sort of changes for that. Having our Mercury retrogrades not in earth signs, which is the quintessential let's fix this problem element, is definitely going to be helpful, I feel. Although they are moving into fire signs, which tend to be a little volatile, but we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. We do have Jupiter and Uranus still in Taurus, makes total sense. Jupiter, they're both pretty far apart from each other, so they both have very different things going on. And actually, it's like seriously black and white, especially towards the end of the week. But at the beginning of the week, we of course still do have the moon in Taurus, just for probably like a few hours. I'm actually recording on the day that the moon was in, and I'm pretty sure the moon is out by the time we're done with this. So just don't even, it's already done, right? Might make a little bit of a complicated Sunday morning, but that's about it. Uranus, on the other hand, is still in this grand sextile with Neptune and Pluto, and no more oppositions. Remember last week when we were talking about all the oppositions with the sun and Mars and all that? Yeah, that's all gone. It's awesome. We're not doing that anymore. However, as we start moving in, I do believe, let me go back here. Yes, I do believe that even though we are done with that, Jupiter is going to move into an opposition with Venus as Venus is leaving Libra. So we do get a break for most of the week, which is nice. But Uranus really is just down to this grand sextile here with Pluto and Neptune. Neptune's focus is very much on self, is retrograde. Neptune is all about intuition and intuitive abilities, and it's pointing it at you. In fact, one of the things that I have noticed is that a lot of the people that I have worked with who are considered well-known mediums or in the spiritual work in the spiritual realms in some way, a lot of them have Neptune in their rising sign, which is the first house, the house of self, which basically means it's written in the stars that this person was not just going to be intuitive, but be known as an intuitive. For you guys, I feel that this is a really good time for you to start testing your intuitive abilities and really maybe even honing those in some way, shape, or form, if that makes any sense at all. And the easiest way that I tell my clients and my students all the time is practice, 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 practice. You get something that's intuitive, like an intuitive thought or intuitive feeling. Don't question it. Don't ask where it's coming from. Just listen. Just follow directions. Just do what you're told. That's so hard for me. Okay, I'm a fixed sign too. Don't tell me what to do. Your intuition has to tell you what to do from time to time, because without it, we would just be kind of sort of blind in the dark. I think you'll also notice that you use your intuition a lot more than you probably think that you do, which is going to be kind of an eye-opener for you. Pluto is still focused on inner trauma to a certain extent. I mean, barely, while Uranus is focused on the mind. So the big thing about this is that any kind of inner trauma or any kind of emotional hangups that you have are definitely going to get in the way of your intuitive flow. That jams things up. Overthinking is also one of those things that jams things up. A lot of intuition comes through in what's called first thought process. And if you have like a million things on your mind, that intuitive process is just going to get lost in the shuffle of all of those things. And you might later on go, where'd that thought come from? Because it's swimming around with all the other thoughts. But most of the time, you just lose it. And, it does come back, but we don't want to rely on that. Sometimes it's really important that you get it right then and there. Moving over to Jupiter, Jupiter is moving into a grand sextile with Saturn and Mercury this week. What's interesting about this is Mercury is 1 degree in Capricorn by the end of the week, while Saturn is 1 degree in Pisces. So the ones actually are popping out, and they're very important. And and if you're into numerology, the 1111 or seeing these sequence of numbers, I feel that it's really important to mention this because that might be part of your week also. And when I see synchronicity in numbers, either like a lot of the time I see my birthday, and I'm actually just as I was saying that, glanced over, it's 2:14 p.m. It's 1 minute before my birthday. Oddly enough, that's usually, to me, my guides telling me that they're around because this is a number associated with me, or they're trying to get my attention. I see sequences of numbers that are other people's birthdays, some of which are in spirit. That's just to tell me that I know that they're around. But when I see certain numbers like 1111 over and over again, I pay attention, because if I'm looking at a coincidence, there's another coincidence around me, if that makes sense. But it also can be validation as well. So it really depends on what you're doing at the time and what direction you're pulled in terms of what that means for you. So numbers are important this week. In terms of this grand sextile, Saturn is focused on self, really your own personal responsibility to you. And Mercury is focused on career, your communicative responsibilities towards your career, with Jupiter being focused on the past. Now, to me, this means two things. One, your responsibilities to yourself and not your career. I mean, yes, there's a responsibility there, but it's you first, then your career, right? So if you're in a situation where your career thinks that they own you, it's time to step up and remind them that they don't. The other thing is, the second thing is taking responsibility for you. This is a big problem in the world, and I'm not pointing the finger at you guys, but this is a big problem in the world. If I had a dime for every time I heard somebody say, well, I mean, I would have done it, but so-and-so didn't do this. It's everybody's passing the puck and passing the puck. In your career development, it's important for you to own up to your own stuff. Whether somebody else had a hand in making the mistake or not, whatever is your responsibility, it's important to own up to that, because it's not about not getting in trouble. It's about integrity at this point. And I really feel that that's what that's about. Now, Jupiter's opposition with Venus becomes a much bigger problem right at the end of the week, because the moon moves into a square with both planets and amplifies this challenge. So Jupiter, again, continuing to be focused on the past. Venus is focused on finances, which is very interesting. And then we have the moon focused on your day-to-day schedule. Now, I can interpret this in a couple of different ways. The easy one is emotional stuff trips you up. And when it shows up in your daily schedule, it disrupts it every single time. And so, I could be trucking along, having a very motivating day, and then I get one of those phone calls that sets me into that emotional state, and we're not trucking along anymore. That does tend to happen. But the other thing that is interesting is there is an element of repeating past behavior because Jupiter is focused on the past. So, and Jupiter it continues to be retrograde. So Jupiter is saying, we can't fix this. We can't grow this problem. We're basically doing the same thing that we did before, and we don't want to continue to deal with finances in the same old way if they're not working anymore. So I also feel that a lot of what is coming out of this has to do with the fact that we do have the tendency to make these bad decisions, and it gets overwhelming, and the universe wants to get your attention. Your guides want to get your attention, because without your attention, you're not going to get the message of how to fix this problem. So they make it more challenging in order for you to pay attention to it. Is it annoying? Absolutely, it is annoying. I don't like it any more than anybody else. And I have really felt personally like 2023 was just a series of those events, probably because I'm not paying attention, and they need to get my attention. Yes, it's frustrating. I know, but it is what it is. So this week, when you're irritated because the process isn't working, and then it all of a sudden basically builds up to this emotional breakdown over the problem, have your emotional breakdown. And then once you're done with that, sit down and come up with a new plan, because this one probably isn't working. That's the definition of insanity, by the way, continuing to do the same thing and expecting different results. And this world has changed so much that you're not going to get different results, or you will, but they will not be the results that you want. Like, we have to work a little bit harder in order to get anywhere because of the state of things right now. And no, I don't like it either, but I don't have a magic wand to fix it either. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, but after all that, you probably don't. But if you love your horoscopes and decide to send a tip or donation through my coffee link, it is there in the description. And I do appreciate all the coffees that I get. And I appreciate them a whole lot. Trust me. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, you guys are it, man. You guys got your stuff together. You guys are focused. You're ready to go. Don't let the small stuff get in the way. Just write it out right into the next big thing that you've got to do, because it all comes down to what you're willing to put up into it. And I know you guys are highly motivated, and you can. So you guys have a fantastic week. I will see you next week.